Hey guys! Today we're diving into another truly horrifying case. If you want to support my channel, make sure to subscribe and stay active. It really helps me out. I'd be super grateful for that. Let's get started. Saturday, August 21st, 2010. The house of Maria Esther Romero in Villa Adelina, just outside Buenos Aires, is filled with an uneasy silence. Her 30-year-old daughter, Erica Soriano, hasn't been heard from since early morning. That day, Erica was supposed to visit her family for lunch. She and her partner Daniel were expected to arrive from Lanús, but neither of them showed up. Calls to Erica's phone go unanswered, and no one picks up at their home number either. Maria tries to reach Daniel directly, but he doesn't respond. Hours pass. Worry sets in. Erica's sisters also try contacting her, but no luck. This kind of disappearance is completely out of character for Erica. Even when she was overwhelmed with work, she always kept in touch. It was especially important now. Erica was 5 months pregnant, and staying connected with her loved ones mattered more than ever. Around 3 p.m., Daniel finally picks up Maria's call. He tells her that Erica left the house on her own after a heated argument. According to him, they had a fight in the morning, and she supposedly grabbed her purse and walked out. He doesn't share any further details. The call ends quickly and in a cold tone, which strikes Maria as deeply unsettling. Maria, along with her sons Mauro and Luciano, decide to drive to Lanús immediately. They want to go to the house where Erica was living and speak with Daniel face to face. On the way, Maria calls him again, urging him to file an official missing person report. At first, he hesitates and refuses. Then he says he'll do it, but still doesn't act right away. Meanwhile, the family is already preparing paperwork to file the report themselves. When Maria and her sons arrive in Lanús, Daniel answers the door, not alone but with an attorney. He appears composed and emotionally detached. His demeanor doesn't match the gravity of the situation. There's no sign of panic, not even mild concern. He answers questions vaguely. He insists the argument was over something trivial, that Erica left voluntarily, and that he hasn't seen her since. As Maria looks around the house, she notices something strange. There's nothing there to suggest that Erica planned to be away for long. Her personal items are missing. No makeup, no clothes, none of the medications she needed during pregnancy. Later, during a more thorough search, the family finds her purse, her documents, and even the clothes Daniel claimed she was wearing when she supposedly left. With suspicion mounting, Maria and her sons go to the local precinct to file a report. But there's a complication. They're told that the report must be filed not based on where Erica was officially registered, but in the area where she was actually living, Lanús. This technicality delays the start of the investigation. The family continues desperately trying to reach Erica, calling her cell, checking any possible communication channels. All attempts fail. By now, there's no question that something serious has happened. The family is convinced this is more than just a disappearance. And Daniel, it seems, isn't telling the whole story. Erica Paola Soriano was born on January 19, 1980, in Villa Adelina, in the northern part of Buenos Aires province. She was one of 5 siblings and stood out from an early age for her kind heart and vibrant personality. Her mother, Maria Esther Romero, and her father, whose name was never made public, raised their family in a home rooted in unity and mutual respect. The bond between the sisters, in particular, was deeply strong. During her teenage years, Erica met Marcelo Sauco, a classmate who soon became her first serious relationship. Their connection developed quickly. Marcelo introduced her to his social circle, including his best friend, Guillermo de la Cuesta. Guillermo and Erica also formed a close friendship. Her family warmly welcomed both Marcelo and Guillermo into their lives. In 1997, at just 17 years old, Erica shared with her family that she was expecting. Several months later, on June 29, 1998, her daughter Florencia was born. The arrival brought everyone closer together. Erica's loved ones rallied around her and the newborn, offering full support. Guillermo, especially, became deeply involved in their lives. He often reminded them that they could always count on him. Soon after Florencia's birth, Erica and Marcelo decided to get married. But the everyday pressures of life began to weigh on their relationship. Financial stress, household responsibilities, and clashing expectations started to surface. The couple did their best to make it work, but after a few years, they made the mutual decision to separate. At that time, Florencia was 3. The split was peaceful. Both agreed to maintain a co-parenting relationship, putting their daughter's well-being first. After the divorce, Marcello moved to Spain, hoping for better financial opportunities. Erica and Florencia returned to her family's home. Given Florencia's young age and Erica's emotional state, her mother and sisters stepped in to help. Their support allowed Erica to focus on parenting and finding a job. During this period, Guillermo remained a steady presence. At one point, he confessed his feelings for her, and they gave romance a chance, but both quickly realized their friendship was more meaningful. In 2001, Marcello came back to Argentina. He started a new relationship with a woman named Romina Mercado, who already had 2 sons. Later, they had a child together. Despite this new chapter, Marcello remained in contact with Florencia and continued to be involved in her life, something Erica fully supported. Around this same time, Erica landed a job with a cosmetics company. She worked in administration. The environment was welcoming, and she formed a particularly strong friendship with a colleague named Analia Gonzalez. They would have lunch together, confide in one another, and became each other's emotional support system. 10 years passed in relative calm. Erica raised Florencia, stayed close to her family, kept up a cordial relationship with Marcello and his new family, and maintained a healthy balance between responsibilities and moments of rest. Surrounded by her mother, brothers, sisters, and close friends, she had built a stable and fulfilling life. But that calm wouldn't last forever. Through a mutual acquaintance, Erica would eventually meet someone who would enter her life unexpectedly and unravel everything she had spent years building. In October 2009, Erica submitted an application to appear on a TV quiz show. A month later, a producer called her back to confirm her selection as a contestant. While on set, she filled out a participant form, which ended up in the hands of Daniel Lagostena, who was working behind the scenes on the show at the time. That's where their connection began. Daniel Lagostena was born on January 7, 1960, in Buenos Aires. His past included a pattern of turbulent relationships. One of the first women in his life was Maria Chiesa. They met while Daniel was working as a landscaper. A few months into their relationship, she became pregnant. Daniel pressured her to terminate the pregnancy, and when she refused, he began exhibiting controlling and aggressive behavior, both emotionally and physically. Their son, Nahuel, was later diagnosed with a benign tumor. After the diagnosis, Daniel's aggression intensified. Eventually, Maria contacted law enforcement and obtained a restraining order against him. Nahuel remained with his mother, while Daniel was once again left on his own. For a while, Daniel made a living through odd construction jobs and selling clothes at street markets. Later, he began a relationship with 18-year-old Alexandra Tomkiewicz. Things moved fast. Within a month, she had moved into his home in Lanús. That's when the control began. He kept tabs on her movements, demanded transit tickets to verify her whereabouts, and started checking up on where she had been. Over time, things escalated, first to threats and surveillance, then to physical aggression. After 8 years, Alexandra finally found the strength to leave him. Around this time, Daniel crossed paths with Erica. After the TV taping, he copied her email address from her application and reached out. He introduced himself and suggested meeting up. At first, Erica didn't reply, but Daniel persisted, sending more messages. Eventually, she agreed to meet. Their first conversation was calm. He spoke about his son and how difficult it was for him to stay in touch with the boy. Erica, in turn, opened up about her daughter and her values around relationships. They met a few more times in December. He emailed her, called her at work, and showed growing interest. In January 2010, Erica introduced Daniel to her family for the first time. At the time, the family's focus was mostly on her brother Mauro, who was undergoing rehab, so no one paid much attention to the new relationship. Meanwhile, Daniel began acting increasingly persistent. He expressed a strong desire to become a father. Less than 2 months into knowing each other, he was already talking about moving in together. Erica found this overwhelming, but the idea of having a new family touched her emotionally. Friends raised concerns, but she chose not to listen. In February, her father passed away. While she was grieving, Daniel proposed that she move into his home in Lanús. Erica hesitated. She didn't want to leave her mother or pull her daughter out of school. That's when Daniel went directly to Maria. He told her that the only thing standing in the way of their relationship was Erica's attachment to her family. Not knowing all the details, Maria encouraged Erica to consider the move, thinking it might help her find stability. The decision didn't come easy. Erica's friend and co-worker, Analia, urged her to reconsider. The move seemed rushed, but Erica, worn down by grief and pressure, eventually gave in. At first, everything seemed manageable, but soon signs of control began to show. Florencia, Erica's daughter, felt increasingly pushed aside. Daniel interfered with their bond, triggered conflicts, and started accusing Florencia of things that hadn't happened. The first clear sign of jealousy came when Daniel asked Florencia to follow her mother after work and report back. His behavior escalated. He frequently caused scenes, tried to control Erica's appearance, her social interactions, and where she went. Her sense of freedom began to shrink, and sadly, this was only the beginning. Control intensified after Erica became pregnant. Daniel began using her condition as an excuse to tighten restrictions, demanding she reduce her communication with others and insisting on full compliance with his rules. He wouldn't let her change her route without offering an explanation. If she deviated from her schedule, he demanded photo evidence. Sometimes they would spend weekends at a rural home in Saladillo, a property owned by his family. There, Erica was cut off from her usual environment. No friends, no familiar places. Daniel used these trips to further isolate her. Her mother and sisters started hearing from her less and less. Even when she did manage to visit Villa Adelina, the visits were brief and rare, and often came with disapproval from Daniel. Erica's condition started to deteriorate. She stopped taking care of herself the way she used to, rarely wore makeup, lost interest in her appearance, and even the simplest tasks became a struggle. Friends and relatives noticed the change. In this stifling atmosphere, Erica made a decision. She was going to leave. She reached out to her friend Laura, who worked at a real estate agency, and asked for help finding a place to live. She wanted to move as soon as possible. Laura began looking for options right away. Erica tried to keep things discreet, afraid of how Daniel might react if he found out. But he did find out. After that, he began taking secretive steps. Daniel obtained a secondary phone, one he hadn't used before, and contacted an unidentified individual. Investigators later revealed that this person might have had access to a cremation facility. The situation escalated rapidly, and time was running out for Erica. On August 20th, 2010, Erica and Daniel went into downtown Buenos Aires. She had a prenatal appointment with her OB-GYN. Everything with the pregnancy was progressing normally, but Erica insisted on routine checkups. After the appointment, they spent some time in the city, grabbed coffee at a local spot, before heading back to Lanús. It was a Friday, and traffic heading out of the capital was especially heavy. During the ride, something happened. A conflict broke out between them. The exact cause remains unknown. In the middle of the argument, Laura, Erica's friend, called. Erica sounded tense. Her voice was shaky. Laura asked her to call back once she got home. That was the last confirmed contact anyone had with Erica. She vanished. Daniel didn't go to the authorities until the following day, and only after pressure from Erica's family. His statement was brief. He repeated that Erica had left the house on her own, refused to let him accompany her, grabbed her bag, and walked out. But on August 22nd, just one day later, not only did members of the Soriano family arrive at his home, so did law enforcement with a search warrant in hand. Inside, investigators quickly noticed something unusual: the fireplace. Despite the warm weather, it was hot. When asked why it had been used, Daniel claimed he'd used it to cook, but there was no food, no cooking utensils, nothing to support that claim. Inside the fireplace, they found scorched fabric fibers, which were sent off for testing. Chemical agents also revealed that the floor had recently been cleaned in areas where blood had been present. When questioned about this, Daniel offered an explanation. Erica had supposedly cut her finger, but he had never mentioned this before. Not to authorities, not to her family, and no one else had heard anything about it. During the search of the home, Erica's sisters discovered her personal belongings. There were pregnancy-related medications, cosmetics, her purse, identification documents, wallet, and even the exact outfit Daniel had claimed she wore when she supposedly left. These findings seriously challenged the idea that she had left on her own. Maria demanded answers. Daniel responded vaguely, dodging details. His demeanor was distant. He showed no real concern and didn't take part in the search efforts. Meanwhile, Erica's family launched their own search. They printed posters with her photo, shared her information online, and contacted hospitals, medical examiners' offices, and police departments. No confirmed sightings or leads emerged. Everything pointed to a disappearance that was not spontaneous. With each passing day, Daniel's version of events seemed less believable. His statements didn't match the facts, and the belongings found at the house contradicted his story. Her family was certain he was hiding something. A few days after the missing person report was filed, Daniel suddenly vanished. Before leaving, he wrote a letter to his father, saying he didn't want to be blamed for something he claimed he hadn't done. He also left his phone on top of a newsstand to make it harder for authorities to track him. Over the next few hours, he traveled to the city of Rosario, from where he crossed the border into Paraguay. Daniel's sudden disappearance alarmed investigators. Until then, he had appeared indifferent, but he hadn't attempted to flee. His abrupt change in behavior was a strong indicator that he was concealing something. While the Soriano family tried to track down his location, Daniel's father reported his son missing to the authorities. This report helped speed up the search. As the investigation in Paraguay unfolded, detectives back in Buenos Aires shifted their focus to how a body might have been disposed of. One of the key theories was cremation. Investigators checked crematories in the southern part of Greater Buenos Aires. Special attention was given to a funeral service that rented space from Daniel's family. The director of the facility was Leonardo de Simone. While reviewing the funeral home's paperwork, discrepancies began to emerge. Some cremations were registered without proper names or identification, and key identification protocols had been ignored. Investigators concluded that the setup allowed cremations to be performed without official records. This system could have been used to dispose of Erica's remains. Though no direct evidence was found, there were enough indirect signs to suggest a potential connection between Daniel's actions and activities in the funeral business. As police worked to pinpoint Daniel's location, the Soriano family's attorney obtained authorization to search properties linked to the funeral service. Investigators went through archives, storage rooms, and examined burials that had taken place around the time Erica disappeared. Several bodies that had passed through the same crematory were exhumed, but none showed any trace of being her. Meanwhile, Daniel returned to Argentina and voluntarily turned himself into law enforcement. He claimed he had traveled north to the Misiones province after receiving an anonymous tip that Erica might have been held at a facility where women were being exploited. According to him, he went there to investigate the claim. However, officials later confirmed that no such facilities existed at the location he mentioned. Investigators interpreted Daniel's trip as a calculated attempt to divert suspicion. Erica Soriano's family, including her mother and sister, believed his actions were a deliberate effort to flee and destroy evidence. Their suspicions only deepened, but at the time, there still wasn't enough direct evidence to formally charge him. Nearly 2 years after Erica's disappearance, the investigation reached a critical point. On May 30th, 2012, a judge ordered the arrest of Daniel Llagostena on suspicion of unlawful deprivation of liberty resulting in death with aggravating circumstances. The decision was based on expert analyses, witness testimony, and a pattern of events that pointed to his involvement. Following his arrest, Daniel underwent a court-ordered psychiatric evaluation. Specialists diagnosed him with traits consistent with a severe personality disorder, prominently featuring narcissism. A lack of empathy, a desire for control, and a manipulative nature were identified as core characteristics. Experts concluded that these traits had a direct impact on the nature of his relationship with Erica. Despite the serious nature of the allegations, Daniel was released from custody in late December 2012. The ruling came from the appeals court of Lomas de Zamora. The main reason cited was the absence of a body and a lack of direct evidence linking him to a fatal act. The prosecution challenged the decision, but the ruling stood. The investigation continued, with the primary suspect now walking free. Detectives refocused their efforts on analyzing Daniel's phone communications. A court-approved wiretapping of his conversations. This step proved fruitful. Authorities recorded conversations between Daniel and several third parties, during which they discussed information loosely connected to burial procedures and cremation. These calls introduced new leads about a crematorium where Erica's remains could have been disposed of without proper documentation. Investigators also turned their attention to transactions involving the funeral service linked to Daniel's family. One document revealed a purchase agreement. Leonardo de Simone, who had previously rented the facility, had bought it for $220,000, but only $120,000 was ever paid. Investigators suspected that the remaining balance may have been forgiven in exchange for help covering up Erica's disappearance. Meanwhile, authorities worked to reconstruct Daniel's movements on the day Erica vanished. Cell tower data showed that on the evening of August 20th, 2010, Daniel's phone traveled along a route leading to the southern parts of the province, near the location of the crematory. These findings aligned with witness statements from individuals who reported seeing a vehicle resembling Daniel's parked near the site that day. Investigators also analyzed phone records from a number registered to Daniel Lagastena's nephew. That number had been used for texting on the night Erica disappeared, the same night Daniel claimed he was at home. But location data revealed activity near a site associated with cremation services. While the nephew's involvement in the crime wasn't proven, his statements helped confirm critical timeline markers. The court requested a full list of all burials conducted at the crematorium in question. Investigators gathered enough circumstantial evidence to support the theory that a crime had taken place and that the body had been disposed of through an unlawful cremation scheme. Although Erica's remains were never recovered, authorities argued that their destruction was the result of premeditated actions. Daniel, they concluded, had used his connections and resources to erase all physical evidence. A combination of motive, a prior pattern of aggressive behavior, forensic findings, post-disappearance conduct, inconsistencies in his statements, and cell phone activity formed the foundation for reissuing formal charges. The case continued to build momentum despite the absence of the most crucial piece of physical evidence, the victim's body. On June 4, 2018, nearly 8 years after Erica Soriano disappeared, the trial began at Criminal Court Number 9 in Lomas de Zamora. Daniel Lagostena stood as the sole defendant. Over the years, the case had grown to include hundreds of pages of documents. The prosecution presented a case built on investigative findings, expert evaluations, witness testimony, and behavioral analysis of the accused. The trial was presided over by a panel of 3 judges. Representing the Soriano family was attorney Ariel Ursino. Lagostena's defense emphasized the absence of a body as their central argument, insisting that this lack of evidence meant guilt could not be proven. They suggested that Erica may have left voluntarily and that her disappearance didn't necessarily involve a crime. The court heard testimony from more than 60 witnesses. These included family members, co-workers, friends, law enforcement personnel, investigators, forensic experts, and former partners of the accused. A large portion of the trial was devoted to questioning key individuals and reviewing cell phone data, surveillance footage, wiretapped calls, and evidence gathered during searches. The testimonies from Erica's loved ones played a pivotal role. Her mother spoke about the final days before her disappearance, her daughter's relationship dynamics with Daniel, and his behavior afterward. Erica's sisters described the controlling environment she had been living in. One of the most compelling moments came from Erica's daughter, Florencia. She shared insights into Daniel's behavior that had never been formally documented before. Testimonies from women who had previously been in relationships with Daniel added significant weight to the case. Their statements revealed a consistent behavioral pattern: intense attachment early on, followed by total control, restrictions, verbal threats, and emotional aggression. This information was presented in court as evidence of a long-standing dangerous dynamic in his relationships. Daniel chose to testify in person. He portrayed his relationship with Erica as loving and maintained his innocence, claiming he had no knowledge of what happened to her. However, under questioning, his testimony included contradictions and lapses in memory. He failed to align his story with verified facts. The court noted inconsistencies and discrepancies between his earlier statements and his account during trial. The case drew widespread public attention. Media outlets covered every court session. Erica's family received strong support from organizations advocating for women's rights and against gender-based violence. The public demanded transparency and justice. Even without a body, the prosecution argued that the evidence proved Erica's death and pointed directly to Daniel's involvement. The trial was moving toward a verdict that many had awaited for years. On July 11, 2018, the court reached its decision. The panel of judges found Daniel Llagostena guilty. 2 days later, the sentence was handed down, 22 years in prison. He was convicted of the crime against Erica Soriano, which occurred in a domestic setting, and included the aggravating factor of causing the death of a pregnant woman. The court also confirmed that he took deliberate steps to conceal the evidence of the crime. Following sentencing, Daniel was transferred to a correctional facility in the city of Olmos, located in Buenos Aires province. He maintained his innocence and immediately launched an appeal. His legal team filed 2 motions. Both were denied. In January 2020, while in custody, Daniel released a book outlining his version of events. The book was distributed online and in stores, but public backlash and pressure from Erica's family led to it being pulled from circulation. On December 17, 2022, Argentina's Supreme Court issued a final ruling. All decisions made by lower courts were upheld. The sentence became permanent. All avenues for appeal were exhausted. Daniel Llagostena is expected to remain in prison until 2037. Erica's family saw the ruling as a step toward justice, but not closure. Her mother stated that the pain would not fade until all involved in the crime are identified and the full truth is revealed. The Soriano family continues to work with investigators in hopes of uncovering new evidence. Erica's case remains a landmark. It reached conviction without a recovered body. For Maria and her loved ones, it stands as proof that truth can still come to light, even when someone tries to erase it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Your support means a lot to me, and you can help my channel grow by hitting that like button, dropping a comment, and sharing this video. Your engagement really makes a difference. See you soon.